Another week, another burning franchise-based question. This week we ask, did Han Solo shoot first? No kidding, we know the truth. In other news, do we really need another Neve Campbell Scream outing? There's your weekly burning question. And here is our ranking. And a brief spoiler warning. In a sad last 6th place, we have Scream 3, directed by Wes Craven, as per the first two. This movie ends what was intended to be the Scream trilogy, and alas, it slightly fails to stick the landing. It's got the right elements, the right main characters, a new addition in that Patrick Dempsey guy from Grey's Anatomy, but unfortunately it has too many idiotic characters to really feel like any effort was put into a satisfactory conclusion to the trilogy. They do a good job of wrapping things up at the end, tying all the story elements together, so it's a shame they felt the need to inject such annoying side characters into the mix. If I wanted to watch Parker Posey run around like a tit, well, I wouldn't. I don't. As Ghostface reveals go, it's fine. The deviation from a major plot point in the original film is a little disappointing and feels a bit lazy, but it was fine. Moving on to 5th place, where we find Scream 6, directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett. This is the second movie in the franchise revival, and the first not to star Neve Campbell. Before I jump into the main issue I have with this one, I do like this movie. I like most of the characters, I like the change in location, the throwback to old characters, the strong start, but the main issue for me is a biggie. Now, I'm not a medical professional, so I'm going by gut feeling here, but I found the endurance of some of the victims in this movie otherworldly. I mean, at least in the first few movies, most of the attacks were fairly realistic in my, granted, amateur opinion. In Scream 6, and Scream 5 for that matter, they get stabbed, shot, and then just sit around having a casual chat about what strong survivors they are. One guy in this movie is stabbed repeatedly by multiple assailants, is left to bleed out, and after a further dramatic climax involving the remaining characters, somehow is still alive? Seriously, about 15 wounds, and none of them nicked an artery or vital organ? One of the characters exclaims, "How are you still alive?" as if that covers the stupidity of it. I know they tried to cover this nonsense in the Halloween franchise by alluding to Michael Myers being supernatural of sorts, and that was ridiculous, and so is this. Make it realistic. One victim has their guts wrenched apart but still managed to saunter over to a window, climb out, and shuffle along a horizontal ladder exiting the building? Really? Is it too much to ask that someone just bleed out? Anyway, number 4 and Scream 4, again directed by Wes Craven. Released in 2011, Scream 4 came 11 years after the original trilogy ended with Scream 3. Set 15 years after the original Ghostface murders, this very much tries to capture the uniqueness of the first movie, with mixed results. Again, with the strong start, a feature of all the Scream movies, to be fair. The legacy characters are back, and the way they're brought back together doesn't feel forced. There's a very cool use of cameras, which feels like a throwback to the scene in the original movie, where Gale Weathers sees Ghostface appear behind Randy in Schumacher's living room. But the Ghostface reveal was just a bit lame. The motive was a bit too much of a stretch. There was a little too much whiny teenager and not enough legitimate grievance. Not that any grievance can legitimise serial killing, to be clear. The best thing about this movie were the legacy characters, whereas I don't think this was entirely the intention. Legacy characters shouldn't prop up a movie. The new characters should be engaging as well. But they really weren't. I just didn't really care. Sorry. At 3 we have 2. Scream 2. The opening that made me scared to go to the cinema for a good few minutes. The opening to me was really gruesome, really scary. You think you're safe in a packed room, but no, not at all. Riding on the success of the original, Scream 2 came just 1 year after, and it was great to see. This first sequel builds on the strengths of the original really well. We see some returning characters, Randy, Gale, Dewey, Sydney, all moving on from the events of the original in their own way. The great Marco Beltrami returns with music that makes the Scream franchise so memorable. Scream 2 builds on the fun of the original as well. There are moments of humour. Joel the reluctant cameraman is brilliant. Interesting side characters, which some of the later movies lack entirely. Sequels are tough, but this one was really strong. And the number of faces: Buffy Summers, Pacey Witter, Raylan Givens, or Seth Bullock. Everyone wanted to be in this sequel. Looking at the Ghostface reveal, yes, they were decent. One detail was stretching the imagination a little. Plastic surgery only goes so far, but still decent. Bizarre, but decent. And so to the top two, with 2022's Scream sitting at a respectable second place. I was sceptical when they announced a new Scream movie, a revival, if you like. The previous movie, Scream 4, had been only okay, and on its fifth movie, a franchise needs a real gem to grab the attention all over again. Fortunately, the directors, Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett, knew what they were doing. Firstly, the new characters are likeable, and legacy characters work alongside them rather than prop them up. The use of the legacy characters is different too. Bringing Skeet Ulrich back was a brilliant move. The murders feel more savage. I'm not sure that's a good thing, but it does set them apart from the previous movies. Ghostface doesn't shut up either. I swear he talked more in this movie than any other. On the fence with that too, to be honest. The best thing about the movie is also the worst. The death of a much-loved legacy character. Very sad and very impactful. It was a great creative decision, but wow, it still hurts to this day. One of the Ghostface reveals was a little predictable and not particularly fresh, but at that point I was still weeping, so very little was going to revive me. And with the distant chanting of "the original is always the best" ringing in our ears, I give you our number one, 1996's Scream. None of the subsequent openings have topped that of Drew Barrymore's Horror of an Evening. Such a waste of popcorn. From that opening to the distant scream that comes with the intro of the title, to the music, the fantastic Neve Campbell, thank you, Party of Five, the genius pairing of Dewey and Gale, the simplicity of the final act, House Party, the range of likeable characters, Randy, the video shop nerd, Matthew Lillard being hilarious and horrifying, Dewey Riley trying his hardest to be taken seriously, all such great, memorable characters. It was the movie that launched the Ghostface, and costume shops around the world were never the same again. Every movie since has pulled something from the original. The characters, scenes, entire sets, in the case of Scream 3. It was such a strong start, and nothing has matched it since, although the new movies are doing a stellar-ish job of trying. The deviation from a major plot point in the original referenced earlier in the video was this. Why have Roman, Sidney's brother, inserted as a mentor to Billy and Stu in Scream 3? It was dumb and unnecessary. The original, two messed up high school kids, was much better, and much more sinister. Anyway, no one can ever ask you what your favourite scary movie is in a normal voice. Ever again. Not that they ever did, surely it's what's your favourite horror movie, but you get the idea. On that note, what is your favourite Scream movie, and your worst, while we're here? We'd love to hear your thoughts, whether they're compatible with our own or not. And yes, give us another Neve Campbell outing, for the love of Tatum Riley's cat flap. Have fun storming the castle. Thanks very much for listening. If you'd like to contact us or check out what we've been up to, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you enjoyed the video today, please do like it, subscribe to the channel, and ding the bell to receive notifications about new videos. See you in the next one.